Okay, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Days of the Wolf. This is your host, D Wolf, coming at you live somewhere in a secret location within the Northwest. Today we're going to be talking about forgot to tell you the date and time. Should be on the stream itself. It's Wednesday, December 4th, 2019, and our talk is about the 2020 Web Dev Trends. Got a lot of things on my mind. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about, what are the best software trends that are coming up in 2020? What am I supposed to really kind of pay mind and focus on? Well, as a whole, if you're getting into web development, it's always good to know the three core. That's HTML5, the JavaScript, and CSS3. Those are pretty much the top things, or the top languages or quasi languages that you should know from the get go. But I got a personal feeling of about 7 distinct trends that I see that I've seen in 2019 that is punching out a little bit more and becoming more and more popular, and that's for the upcoming trends, and that will be like for 2020. So the first thing on my docket is to it's probably best to learn a good front-end environment. And the 3 main ones that I personally work with are React, Angular, and Vue. I lean a little bit more toward React because that's kind of how I kind of got into it. But Angular and Vue, they have their strengths and their weaknesses. There's no real one environment to learn well. All of it is pretty much based on JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, it's an easy adaptation. One of the main things on the script right now is website performances and optimization techniques. That includes file compression, so you can reduce your code, hopefully by as much as about 80%, depending on how you crunch it out. Getting rid of all the white spaces. A web caching optimization is a good option. That reduces the server load, bandwidth and usage, and latency. If you get in the habit of using CDNs, use a dedicated web and software to store copies and documents passing through your system. It's a good system to learn. Another trend that I see is really popular is microservices. Now, if you're familiar with the conventional way of doing programs, a lot of people are into the monolithic type techniques. But microservices, they're a development technique that is kind of a variant of service-oriented architecture, or sometimes known as SOA. And basically, it arranges the application as a collection of loosely coupled services in a microservice architecture. So this allows sites with a lot more flexibility, and it's kind of a more and more demanding trend that I'm noticing a lot. Another trend that is hitting the limelight is the trend for serverless computing. And that's, when I say serverless, I'm more along the lines of serverless computing in the cloud. Now, this is more of an environment where you want serverless execution because you don't want to always have to pay for a server and stuff like that. Utilizing a cloud minimizes the expense, usually the people, your patrons or yourself, and that allows you to adjust the pricing and the expense to to actually put forth applications. So you kind of pay on the amount that it's actually utilized, not just it's just there all the time. A lot of that would be through like AWS Lambda would be an example. Um, that's kind of the trend for serverless. Now, the thing that is near and dear to my heart is machine learning and artificial intelligence. I I kind of got into that, full blown 3 years ago, and it's hard to get a gig in it if you have anything less than a PhD. But if you're aware of it, you can really put your litmus to the test, as it were. The concept of machine learning and artificial intelligence are more to assist the developer more now than at any time, because with learning and neural networks that are created by this, you can actually optimize a lot of knowledge that kind of comes into your machine. And we're talking about like Power BI, a way to take data and construct that data in such a way where it really optimizes the totality of your output. There are a lot of different libraries that are available for that. I'll go into them more probably in the coming year when I have a better test set. But speaking of test sets, testing. Now, I know this is like the most boring part of developing is actually testing. But if you can adapt an automated testing system, Jest is a good one, and Jasmine is a good one, then you are that much further on the high end of a lot of developers that are already out there. Testing is probably the one thing that everybody kind of underestimates, because at the end of the day, you want to have your code solid, bug free, and the best way of doing that before testing it on your client's servers is to test it on your own and make sure you find out all the weak points that you can correct before it goes live. There's unit testing, which deals with a method of like individual units of source code. There's other testing procedures that are out there that will definitely help you, in the optimize your code base. And the last one that I'll talk about is progressive web apps and cross-platform apps. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about a write once, a read on many devices, or many user interfaces. And a lot of we're talking about applications or environments like Casper, Ionic, React Native, NativeScript. Those frameworks or libraries are really crucial going forward, because if you're a web developer already, so you're developing on like a typical website that's going to be seen by a typical screen, you really have to get into the idea of learning the UI that's through a mobile device, because there's going to be a lot more people with mobile devices than there are like $1,000 PC setup. That's what I've come to understand. So if you can get good, React Native is my personal favorite. Where you can kind of write once and be able to be on any interface, especially mobile interfaces in the future. So that's kind of my little laundry list of the different specs and the different trends that are coming up. I hope you got a lot out of it. This is Doug D. Wolf signing off.